You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
So, the 2025 NFL Draft is officially over, and it was one of the most highly televised drafts in recent memory. This is largely due to the fact that Shedeur Sanders, who was projected to be a first-round pick, fell all the way to the 5th round and was selected by the Cleveland Browns, who had already drafted another quarterback in the 3rd round. Deion Sanders said that his son was going to be drafted in the top 5, and he was. Top 5th round is exactly where he went. So before I pitch this to you guys, just a quick note I want to share with you. Van Lathan on the Bill Simmons podcast shared a quote from a reputable NFL source who said Sanders has never been graded that high by NFL scouts. He was a creation of the media, but mostly a creation of the machine built in Boulder, Colorado. Then you have to ask yourself as an organization, do you want to deal with this father criticizing your staff every week from his Colorado University press conferences? If he were your backup or your starter and your starter had a bad week, would you want to respond to what's being said 1,000 miles away? It's a lot of baggage surrounding an average player. Was this draft slide more about Shedeur's personality off the field or his talent on the field?
It was about those interviews. And it was about Deion and Shedeur's plan to attack this draft like this was Deion 2.0. And Shedeur is nice. I definitely felt he was by far the second best quarterback in this draft class. We've talked about Shedeur now for 2 years, really 3, 2 years in Colorado and 1 year at Jackson State. And he's proven himself to be a more than competent quarterback. He has the traits that we want out of a winning quarterback that I feel that'll translate to the NFL. The thing is that they grossly misread their leverage in this whole thing. They thought that, Deion and Shedeur thought that they was walking in there like the next greatest thing is sliced bread, and it just wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? Deion has been on record of saying, hey, I know behind the curtains and there's certain teams we don't want to play for. That shot was one of those shots was to the Browns that eventually drafted him. So I think that is really what happened. It wasn't necessarily the play on the field. Teams are going to grade players wherever they want to grade them. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't a lot of teams this year that needed a quarterback because a lot of good quarterbacks came out last year. All that being said, I think it came down to the interviews and them really trying to control where they landed, and it just kind of backfired on them. And this was a humbling moment.
When you say it wasn't the play on the field, do you mean that's the reason that he slid, or that's the reason no one took him?
No, I'm saying the play on the field is not the reason why he slid at all.
Okay.
The tape is the tape. The tape is the tape. It's how he came off to certain people. Now, I don't know if y'all saw this report when he met with the Giants with Brian Daboll, and he had an installation, right? Like that means you have your base playbook, but now we have some plays that we are adding to attack a certain defense. And when Shedeur wasn't answering or not giving them what they were looking for, and Daboll called him out, he felt a certain type of way. So obviously he didn't respond in the way that you want a quarterback to respond in that moment. Also, they said that he came in there with headphones and an entourage. Again, those aren't necessarily things that you do when you are interviewing for a multi-million-dollar job. Now, you can have all of the confidence that you want in the world. You could be legendary. You could be all of that. But when it's a one-on-one with you and the potential team that you are interviewing for, let's get it right. It's an interview. We've all 5 of us here have been on an interview. I'm not bringing my headphones around my neck. I'm not doing my interview with an AirPod in my ear. I'm not bringing the entourage waiting outside for me. Like those are just things that you should not do. And that is the corporate side. That is the business side of the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And he just didn't come off right to a lot of teams.
Well, that's the word, FIFO. And here's what I say to that. I don't know that to be true. I don't. I know. I hear people saying that, but you yourself, you've interviewed for jobs that I'm sure you haven't gotten, and I'm sure they probably said some things about you that wasn't true in the interview because they didn't want you to have the job. So 100%. Of course they're going to put out things and narratives that they want to put out to kind of spin it their way. We know we black men, so we know about that. We know about getting stuff spent a certain way. I can tell you from personal experience that one time somebody found out what I had in my, like some of the things that I have outside was a little different than what they had outside, and their perception of me changed. At that point, I was a little cocky. I was the same person, but at that point, I was a little arrogant because they didn't like what I had that they didn't have. Also, if you got a coach like Shedeur Sanders, who is your father, and he's threatening your job, which a lot of people said before this draft, it was words going around that Jerry Jones is going to fire the coach and hire Deion and bring in his son. We even said it on here, like in a way that we kind of put it out there. So of course we're going to say some things about him and his son coming into this situation. We don't know that to be true. None of us know that to be true because we wasn't sitting in those interviews. And I saw him say that wasn't true. And I'm not going to say it ain't true because I wasn't there. So I'm not going to say it is, and I'm not going to say it ain't. But I guarantee you this, it's more about his father than it is about anything else. And you can't convince me of nothing else. It's to prove a point that, Deion, you don't run this. Y'all don't run this situation. We do. Just like the kneeling and all the other stuff. They had to prove their point. We're going to keep y'all in line, and y'all going to do it my way. So that's just the way I see it.
You don't think that again, I'm just taking what is out there as fact. Deion literally saying that there are places that he's going to control this thing like Arch Manning. That's number one. Number two, he was saying that he knows things behind closed doors and there's certain places he don't want Shedeur to play. Shedeur came out during the combine week talking about, hey, I done changed programs. I done did this. I done did that. That comes off as personally, I'm cool with it because what Shedeur is saying has a lot of fact to it. Who the hell was Jackson State? They went and won that conference while he was there with Travis Hunter. Undefeated. They went to Colorado. They went undefeated, Spike?
Yep, undefeated.
Yeah. Undefeated. They went to Colorado. The first year they turned it around. We're talking about a program that won one game. You know what I'm saying? Nobody here thought that they were going to be out here winning national championships 1 year in. We saw how atrocious that O-line was. Shedeur still played his ass off, came back with a slightly better O-line, still no run game, and they were even better year two, right? And we know that in programs, our guy that just coached at Michigan, he's with the Chargers now. I'm bad with names.
Oh, John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
Yeah. Oh,
Jim Harbaugh. It took him 3 years to get his guys in there. And we're talking about Michigan. So at the end of the day, I understand the confidence and the bravado that Shedeur talks with. But at the same time, I can see him going in there talking to certain teams like, nah, man, y'all need me more than I need you. I can see that.
I can't see that part.
Come on, man.
He ain't that crazy.
Come on, man.
I'm sure his daddy prepared him better than that. What I see, like I said, I see him saying,
you talking about the same guy that said,
if you want to make a difference
at 7, you're not going to be able to get me. You talking about that guy?
What about that? That's nothing.
Okay.
That to me, that's not nothing. To me, that you not saying like y'all ain't nothing to me. That's not as different. Me saying if you want to win, you're gonna pick me. That's the same thing Cam Ward said, which you should have said. And I agree. I think the same way. I want the same confidence. You saw Johnny Manziel with these character issues and saying certain things. It didn't stop his draft stock.
Hey,
some of these other players said the same
Baker
stuff.
Baker
Mayfield said the same stuff. There was no.
Hey, we was all on here doing the draft. I do not agree with him sliding to the 5th. At the latest, he should have been a 3rd round pick. If he was going to slide at the latest, that's what his talent, the tape Spike that I was saying, it's not the tape. That's what the tape told me. That's what the tape told me. Minimum 3rd round pick.
So you don't think
I feel you. I'm just saying minimum.
Because we saw the completions leader in NCAA football with the line, and we all
and
agreed. Yeah, and we all agreed that was the worst line in football. We also agreed that he have a running game. Now, do I think he's mature? Not all the way. I think he does need some development as far as maturity level goes. I'm not saying this guy's like that guy yet. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we're not going to make this about football and that's what some people try to do. You've seen it spent 8 different ways. Oh, his talent level not there. Football. How are we going to bring up talent level now? Where was this this time? All of a sudden, now he can't play football?
Because Dylan Gabriel's talent level is not higher. Jackson Dart's talent level is not higher.
They're trying
Maybe
to
he has physical stuff in terms of Jackson Dart, and even who's the guy from Alabama? You know I'm bad with names.
Jalen
Milroe. Like Milroe has a lot of upside because the nigga run like a 4.3 with a cannon arm.
He a monster. Yeah,
he a monster. So to me, Jackson Dart, I could talk myself into it, but not really. Milroe, I could talk myself into it because it's like, hey, we get him under the coaching, we do this, we do that. We saw what Josh Allen became. All right, cool. I could talk myself into that one. The rest of them bums, hell no. Nah.
But to say I'm going to believe what the media is putting out now, all these different reports that are supposedly coming out, I ain't no fool. I'll sell you some land, some beachfront property in Alabama if you want me to. If you believe in all the stuff that come out, because y'all know good and well the media is going to spend this thing the way they want to spend it. But the bottom line is this.
I know I'm about to say.
There is actually beachfront property in Alabama. It ain't that bad.
I didn't know that. But what I'm saying is we all know that they're going to control the narrative. And that's what they want to do. That's what the media does. That's what the NFL does. Because they sent some owner said we couldn't pick him. Absolutely. Because they got together and got on the phone and said, hey, we ain't picking that boy because he ain't running this. And that's exactly what happened to him. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. Y'all ain't running this. Just like they're going to put a cap on this NCAA, the NIL stuff. They're going to shut all that down too. They controlling it all. And if you believe it's about football, it's not. I'm sorry, Luke. Go ahead.
No, to your point, I do think there were some owners that did collaborate and be like, no, we're not taking him. I think they did have that initiative to their GMs, the drafting point. It was like, nah, we're not taking dude regardless of what happens. And I do think there were some teams that just didn't evaluate him because they didn't think that he would fall down this far. Like he was scouted throughout the season as if not a first round pick, at least about a third round. So now I'm in the 4th or 5th round, and I'm an owner, and my GM called me and be like, hey, we thinking about taking Shedeur, and y'all ain't looked at him, y'all ain't got no tape on him, simply because you didn't think he was going to fall this far. I wouldn't approve of it either because I would be skeptical as an owner being like, no, nobody else is taking him, and they've been studying him and got tape on him. I'm not taking him either, and y'all ain't been paying attention to him. So I do think a lot of things played into factor as far as him falling down this low. It wasn't just, oh, he's arrogant, oh, he's cocky, oh, Deion is his dad, that they didn't draft him. There were a lot of other things not to do with football, like you said, Sheldon, that played into this. And a lot of it had to do with Deion and Shedeur side not being prepared, and also other teams not being prepared for him not to fall this far because everybody kept telling us that he was going to be drafted in the top couple of rounds. And I want to know and trying to understand the people that evaluate football when they got this bad at it. Because we ain't never had a situation like this where somebody like Shedeur Sanders, who they telling me is the second best quarterback, gets drafted in the 5th round. I ain't never seen that happen. So it's hard to be like, I've listened to Bo Money. I've listened to all these other people in the media say, well, it's a process thing. It ain't got nothing to do with race. But it's hard for me to believe that and see that, like, he fell to the 5th round, and it wasn't because of the football shit, like you said, Sheldon. It was because of other shit. So other shit played into it, racism or whatever it may be. But all of that played into it as far as how they view Shedeur.
And I would feel, one last thing, I'm sorry, and then y'all go. But I would just feel differently if he had, like, character issues or if we had some type of, oh, he got arrested for this, for, something like that. It'd be a little different, but you don't have that with him. Yep. You got a clean cut guy. So you can't put it on that. All you putting it on, all you putting it on is that boy got out of line. That's what it is.
I agree.
Ken, you want to go or
Go ahead, brother.
I feel like there's truths to both sides. Lou, to your point about Bomani didn't say that this had nothing to do with race. He said it's just not one of the priorities when you're talking about this situation. Race always plays a factor in somehow, some way. But what I heard from Bomani that really stood out to me was that the number one thing that stood out to me was that Shedeur originally was going to go to Florida A&M, I think, or
Florida International, something like
that. A university that don't nobody know about in Florida. Right. That's all I know. And that was without his father at first, before his father took over Jackson State and brought him over there. He wasn't highly scouted coming out of high school, period, based off of where he was going to play. All season,
Florida Atlantic, right?
Florida Atlantic. Okay. Atlantic. Mm-hmm. Either way, a bumfuck school in Florida. Sorry for those who are alumni of Florida Atlantic, but football ain't. Sheldon, I'm sorry, but football ain't.
Florida Atlantic.
But that was where. What's Colin was there though, wasn't he?
Don't do that shit.
Lane Kiffin. No, Lane Kiffin. I'm just talking about Lane Kiffin.
Go ahead, Nick. All I'm saying is that if it wasn't for Deion, and Deion deserves his credit for this, for putting his legacy on the line for his legacy. You know what I'm saying? He coached his son in high school, coached his son in college, and set him up in the best way possible. Probably even almost would bring LeBron to shame for how he carried Bronny to the league as far as what he was trying to do for Shedeur. To me, this is mainly about talent. This is mainly about perception of talent and the reality of production. Most people outside of Deion did not see Shedeur as a first round grade, because also I'm referring a lot to the Bomani podcast because I think he broke it down beautifully. When the scouts would ask about Shedeur, he said they never got a legit answer. They never got real criticism. It seemed like people were scared to say anything about Deion, and we saw how Deion acted towards the press when you would criticize him. He wouldn't even let you in the room. So if you wanted access to one of the hottest tickets in college football, which we all agree Colorado University has been one of the hottest tickets in college football since Deion took over, you had to fall in line. With that being said, if you're not getting accurate scouting reports based off of not being able to even be in the room, and what we're going off of as far as fact is that he wasn't a highly scouted high school recruit, period. And on top of that, you look at the results of his college career. When we're talking, Sheldon, what do we always talk about here on the show more than anything? Wins and losses, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This man only won 13. This man only won 13 games in 2 seasons of legit college football.
Before I got there,
I'll let you talk. You let me talk. He only won 13 games in 2 years of college football. FIFO. What talent do you know outside of Trey Lance is going to get drafted first round based off of that criteria? Those 3 things that I mentioned right there. Just and then on top of that, you add in his personality, which, like most of y'all said, I don't necessarily disagree with confidence. But when we're talking about sports, the main reason why a lot of people love sports is that facts are king. What you do in the game, how you win the game, how you lose the game, all that takes into is factored into how we evaluate you as a player. He wasn't a Heisman finalist. He wasn't the best player on his own team.
He was top three for the final Heisman.
He was not top 3.
He was top.
He finished 3rd. He was behind. No, he was behind Genty. It was Hunter, Genty, Sanders.
I gotta look at that again. I don't think he was top 3. He may have been top.
I'm telling you, 5. He was.
I'm just.
Who else would it have been?
No, he finished 8th in Heisman.
Because I was about to say, bro, if he was top 3,
Sheldon the same person that do like.
I had to Google. I had to Google that. I know it was 3rd because he'd have been there.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If he was top 3, he would have been there, and I know he wasn't there. So he wasn't a top 3 candidate or top 5 candidate for a Heisman in a year where people said this is a bad quarterback draft. So if he was that good, he probably would have been in the Heisman. And then we saw, and then Shelton, what did Kyle talk to me about? What have y'all always told me about Jalen Milroe or Jackson Dart when we talk about it? It was like when he plays real competition, what does he look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we saw Shedeur for 2 seasons, Ken, remember that first year that they got to Colorado and everybody and they beat TCU and they beat a couple other teams. And TCU was coming off that national championship appearance, and they were playing Oregon. That was the big game, right? I was in Atlanta still at that time. I went to one of them little lounges and bars. Lou, you might have been there with me or something. Or I know I was with one of the homies, and we was all excited, bro. The whole city came out. You know what I'm saying? The whole city was out to support them. I was there too. You know what I'm saying? What happened after that first half, Sheldon? Everybody packed up and went home. I was the only one in the lounge left. I was the only one. I was one of the few people that stayed in the lounge because I still wanted to see what he looks like against competition. When they played Nebraska, when they played Utah, when they played when they played in the bowl game against BYU in their own conference, what did he look like? So when we're talking about race in this, yes, it may have played a factor, and it probably did. But let's not act like this is against black quarterbacks, because 2 black quarterbacks got picked in the top 3 rounds. One was number 1 overall. And Shelton, you said he was talking shit just like Shedeur. He was talking. I'm not even going to that. Because if you want to look at the Cam Ward and Shedeur footage of them working out together and all that stuff, Shedeur was saying a bunch of shit that also probably hurt his draft stock too. And his perception to the league. My thing,
friends though. That's like
I let you talk. My thing is this: when you are that confident in your skill set, you have to back it up. When we're talking about sports,
right?
Especially when you're trying to get picked and drafted. This is the most glorified job interview. And Shelton, did he help himself out in that job interview? FIFA, did he help himself job interview when he didn't even show up to the workouts? When he didn't show up to the Senior Bowl and all that stuff? When he was acting a fool in these interviews, which regardless if you
we
believe
don't know that, Nick.
Regardless if you believe it or not, most of what everybody is saying is that he acted a fool. And these are coming from black reporters too.
Where there's smoke,
look at Chris Broussard from First Things First reported that as well.
Oh yeah, that's a black reporter.
He wasn't.
Now the Heisman
my thing is this. We are dancing around the fact of, and Ken, me and you, or at least I'm gonna speak for myself. I came here early. You know how I always am, Ken. When I say things early, they call me a hater. I was like, bro, I don't think he that good for y'all to do all this rah-rah shit. And it was proof on tape. It was proof in the workouts when he wouldn't work out with Cam Ward. He ain't that good. Now, that is not me saying
you lost the bet to me because you said he would go top 10.
Nick, who looked better in college?
I lost the bet to you, Lou, because I believed he was a first-round pick, and I thought Cleveland was desperate enough that they needed a quarterback. That's why I made that bet.
Who looked better in college, Nick?
So I'm not. So this.
Nick, who looked better in college? Can
I finish my point, bro? You said you talked about nigga. No, because I'm explaining. Shelton went about 3 times. Chill out. My thing is this. My point is, I said that even in the live drive, you can look at the tape. I was like, bro, he shouldn't have slipped. I was shocked that he slipped past Pittsburgh. We all were. I still thought he was a first-round grade. I said I would be shocked that he got at the top 10. I made that bet with you again because Cleveland, who ended up drafting him, needed a quarterback. And to me, he was the second or third best quarterback in the draft. I had my preference of Jalen Milroe, but I wanted him to go to the Giants because I'd like the coach. Again, I think that we are hyping this situation up and trying to make it more racial than it needs to be because we talked about this in the chat, Ken. What cause was he fighting for outside of himself to make it seem like he's standing up for the people? He's standing up for the black man. He's standing up for Shedeur Sanders. Go ahead, Ken.
Y'all want to rebut any of that before I go?
Let Ken go.
The only part I want to rebut is the Heisman voting. He came in 8th, and that's pretty good because you got 2 players on the same team. Your marking is going to go behind one of those 2, and you're going to eat up votes. So go ahead. That's all.
Got it. Okay, so it wasn't good enough to be a top 5 Heisman person. Okay,
no,
cool.
No.
Got it. Mm-mm. Nick, I was with you, bro. I think for all these years, we took 2 sort of different positions with this whole Colorado thing. But when it comes to what he's able to do, I was with you in terms of Shedeur on the field. I did see things that were good. But it's like, what do you look like when you're playing against the competition? It was like that with Johnny Manziel. I can go down the list. that I've said on this program before, and actually have said on this program before when we talked about Johnny Manziel. Just go check the tape. We got called haters, anti-black, all kind of names and shit like that. I think the thing is Sanders' draft went just like that first season at Colorado. It started out hot and ended cold. The question that I really, really want people to answer, and it seems like the scouts have kind of tried to do it, but they tap dancing around it, is that maybe Shedeur just isn't that good. Maybe he isn't as good as Deion made all of us think that he is. When I was talking to my wife about this, when we had this conversation about it, I was like, oh shit, Shedeur ain't been drafted yet. And she was like, oh, what's going on? And like I told you guys in the chat, on Saturdays when they playing, and if Colorado playing, they around watching the game. And I'll be over there watching it with them. And Deion pulled this trick like he did and like he always does, is he sold everybody a bill of goods about his son. I told her that Deion artificially inflated his son's career since the moment he saw that guy coaching his son and didn't like how he was doing it. And he took this man and he took him to Jackson State and he built him up and went undefeated in the first year. I think he lost one game in the second year. He took him to a sorry-ass program in Colorado, got some guys there, built him up, and then did this whole display and tried to make it seem like this guy is a top 5 quarterback. His words, not mine, because he tweeted it. If that tweet is legit, and I believe it is, this is the things that he said. And the black community got fully invested and behind this guy. And then the facts of the matter come out, and now everybody's upset and want to cry about race. They want to say that it's because he's loud and cocky and it's about humbling and this, that, and the other, because for all of these years, we sat and watched this. And when they started losing, instead of calling Deion out, they made excuses for him and for the team. Instead of saying Shedeur ain't this and ain't that, oh, he ain't got an offensive line. Cam Ward, his own buddy, his friend, calling him out and saying that shit, you throwing screens. And when that was questioned, oh, he don't have an offensive line, they got to protect him. We talk about football on here. These guys get paid to evaluate this guy. And for years, people were afraid to tell the truth. And Deion thought that he had a guy that was a surefire thing. And the fact of the matter is he wasn't. Should he have gone to Pittsburgh in the 21st with the 21st pick? Yeah, I think so. Should he have gone in the second round? I think so. But damn, man, falling all the way to 5th, I got to start looking at that with a little bit differently. And I hear what people saying about his intangibles. And, you know, the intangibles can make a thing. But and how Deion wanted to Shelton Spear told us this was the plan and that this was Deion's whole plan. Well, he's a terrible planner because that shit damn sure didn't work out. And one thing when my wife brought up and my father-in-law brought up about the whole Manning thing, I said, well, Shedeur ain't a fucking Manning. He can't, he don't have the leverage to do that shit because his son probably ain't as good as a damn fucking Eli Manning when Eli was in college playing against better talent. Why can't we just accept that shit as fact? If Shedeur was that guy, legendary, as he said, and his talent superseded his talent should supersede his attitude. We've seen them criticize quarterback before. Josh Rosen, they called him privileged. They said that because his dad is rich and stuff that he don't really care about football and that he's not serious about football. That was something that I heard about the Cam Ward Shedeur Sanders video. They said the same thing about Johnny Manziel, the whole Johnny football, this, that, and the other. That's why his ass slid all the way down, and he got punished for it. Yeah, he went in the first round, but the Steelers just said, fuck it, we don't want to take him. And then, of course, this was a weak quarterback draft. The only one that really got drafted that at number 1 that managed to overcome all the questions about character was Baker Mayfield. That was it. Guys, he probably just ain't as good as we think he is, or we've been sold that he is.
So
Why
we
would
Ken, you brought up
one at a time.
Hold on, Spike. So just based off talent with the quarterback room that he has in Cleveland, right? We know Joe Flacco is the preeminent bridge quarterback, a guy that has been there, done that, can show the young QBs in that room how to prepare, how to read the game plan, all of that type of stuff, right? So now we're talking about Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Are you going to sit here on this program and say that Shedeur is not more talented than the other two white guys that's in that room?
I'm not talking about them.
I'm
talking about the draft.
Ken said it right, though. Ken said it right, though. He said he's not Eli Manning. He ain't the right complexion. You're right, Ken.
No.
So he can't do the things that those other guys do. You're right about
he's Ken, we're talking about where he got drafted. And the place that he got drafted and a player that was taken before him is Dylan Gabriel. Are you going to sit here and say Dylan Gabriel is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders based off of your analysis?
Because what I said was I was surprised that Pittsburgh didn't pick him. I was surprised he didn't go in the second round. You know what I'm saying? So it's not – so I already acknowledged those things. What I now have to really sit back and evaluate and look at is why the hell did he not go there? Why the hell did he not get drafted?
So do you think it's
what you're saying? What he's saying is not making sense though.
Because
if you saying you thought he was going to go there, but now you're saying his play is not there, why would you think he would go there? How
because Pittsburgh Steelers needed a quarterback, and they didn't draft him, and then the Browns did not draft him. So then now you have to look and see what people are saying about the reasons why he's not being drafted, and there's talking about he's not that mobile. He has an above.
I want to know Ken. I want to know. You keep saying they.
I'm using them because that's all I have. I'm not a fucking scout.
That's again.
I don't understand why is it so difficult.
That's why I was like, because to me, that's why we are a sports talk program, and I appreciate everyone who's tuning in, and I see the comments and all that stuff too. And I find it interesting is like we look at the games as fans who commentate on the games. We are not behind the scenes. We are not doing all this other stuff to get more information. Absolutely. That's why we rely on sources, secondary but highly credible sources, to give us our information, to give us context, which we all talk about. That's one of FIFO's favorite words, context, to these sports conversations. My thing is this is more about what the media had put out versus what is behind closed doors in these NFL offices and these draft rooms, which Kyle always says this. And we, again, the things that we talk about in the chat, it's funny that y'all are going against it because Kyle always says everybody lying.
Everybody
to this draft, everybody lying. And to me, this reminds me, this is very political in the way of when we, again, for however you feel about and whatever side you follow politically, when we were doing the whole election, everybody thought one way and the results was another way. And then people are acting like, what the fuck happened? How were they this wrong? Twice. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is the similar thing as far as the media said a lot of things that we just fall in the line because these mock drafts, everybody looks at these mock drafts, everybody grades these mock drafts because they're coming from ESPN, Fox Sports, or whatever source you look at. But these are not the people that's working for these franchises.
When have
Nick,
hold on.
But Nick,
when have those people ever been this wrong though? We've never seen this.
You're saying ever been this wrong? Like they got the majority of this mock draft wrong. It's only one player that we're talking about that
absolutely
failed. Right?
Absolutely. But Nick, what you just said is absolutely true. You said the media lies. You said that, right? So why are we to believe what the media said on one side, but then on the other side they lied when they said he was good, but now they tell the truth about the other stuff?
Only because I'm going off the results. The results are saying that the NFL offices didn't grade him as highly as the media does. That's the truth, right?
The results told us that Colin Kaepernick was out of football because he couldn't play, right? That's what the media said. This has
nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick.
It does. It has a lot to do with it. It's about control.
Even close to being attached to Colin Kaepernick.
It's control.
It has nothing to do with Colin. It has nothing to do with Colin Showing because Colin was speaking out for a cause that was
I'm not talking about that part of it.
If you want to bring up Colin, we got to talk about Colin, Sean. You can't just have one. You can't drop his name and then try to back off. Colin was talking about something that had nothing to do. He was talking about something that had nothing to do with football. He was talking about stuff that was outside of football that brought negative attention to what the NFL office felt like was to the sport.
Right. I'm talking about the reason why he's not there. I'm not talking about what he's talking about. I'm talking about who kept him out.
Shedeur has not talked about anything politically, socially. Like you said, Sheldon, he's been a clean-cut guy. He hasn't said anything outside of his confidence and what he thinks of himself.
My point is this.
So that has nothing to do with that.
My point with that is this, just so y'all know, with the Cap thing. I ain't talking about Cap as far as Cap and what he stood for and the reason why he's not in the league. What I'm saying is the powers that be decided that this man, regardless of his talent, regardless of the fact he's just been to a Super Bowl, is not going to get back in our league. That's what they decided. And they decided the same thing this time, that this man is not going to control my league. And that's the same thing I'm talking about. That had nothing to do.
They decided it. And they decided with Lamar Jackson, too. When he was holding out and we were wondering why the Falcons wouldn't sign Lamar Jackson and he couldn't get this highest paid contract that he wanted, the same thing happened. But y'all are trying to act like, and that's the most important thing I think about the situation. People are trying to act like, yeah, it was all these other factors. It was other factors that played into it, but we still have examples from Lamar Jackson, from Colin Kaepernick, that this is what's happening. And I don't understand how people.
Go ahead, Kevin. Well, I think that Shelton, you and maybe Spike, but I know Shelton, you talk about distractions all the time and how they can impact the team, right?
Yeah.
Once he didn't get picked in the second round, he becomes a distraction on the team because people are afraid of Deion Sanders and the fans talking about when is he going to get in the game and why isn't he playing. Shit, we saw it happen in fucking Atlanta and with Michael Penix when Kirk Cousins was shitting the bed.
You're right.
And then all of a sudden, and so then that's something that organizations, once the value diminished with him and you're not a starter in the third and fourth round, typically those first 4 rounds are guys that are supposed to be on your team. At that point, we needed somebody that's going to be able to contribute to the team right away. And we can't have those outside distractions for a guy that we don't even have as a first round grade talent-wise, and that we may not even believe he may not be that good. So why do I even want to put up with that shit? So you guys are not believing any of the stuff that the talent scout evaluators are saying?
Why did it take so long for them to come out and say it? That's what I don't believe. Because
I gave you a reason why, Lou. You just not believing it. I told you that they wanted the media. The media wanted access. The media and the scouts want access to the Deion Sanders show. It's the hottest thing smoking. Probably still going into this, especially probably going up to this next season, Ken, based on how this draft went. But Deion would not allow you in there if you wasn't getting with the program.
He kicked that one guy out. He kicked him out because he said
he kicked CBS out.
Yeah, he kicked that one guy.
He didn't say one guy.
The guy from CBS.
He did kick dude out, but Mel Kiper don't care nothing about that. And Mel Kiper was talking about, and it crashed out on ESPN about
and I agree. And
I like this dude been doing draft picks for 30 years. How is he that wrong?
He's not. You saying Mel Kiper hasn't been wrong before?
Yeah, Mel Kiper's
been wrong. Saying that. I ain't saying he ain't been this wrong. He's been this wrong ever before.
Mel Kiper
has talking about somebody is the second best quarterback and they get drafted in the 5th round. That hasn't happened.
He put his career on Jimmy Clausen, and we saw what Jimmy Clausen.
That's what I'm saying.
He's been wrong, but he's been more right than he's been wrong. He's had way more hits than he's had misses. So it is what it is. And then my thing is this, like especially for Nick and Ken, right? Forget what the scouts, forget what the media. Just look at, again, Nick, to your point, you said that we on this program look through sports and just talk about it as fans, as we are, right? Based off of the comparison, the peers in this draft class, you're going to tell me that Jackson Dart, Tyler Show, Jalen Milroe, Dylan Gabriel all had better collegiate careers, number one, and number two, have more upside. There's 2 guys that I'll give you the upside on. Jackson Dart is an athlete. I'll give him that. Jalen Milroe, elite athlete. I'll give you that. So if you're drafting on potential, I'll give you drafting those 2 guys over Shedeur.
3 guys,
because
you got Cam Ward too. You got to include him in that.
And he's in a league of his own. He's on a whole nother pedestal in comparison to the quarterbacks in this draft class. Shedeur is not a peer to Cam Ward in this draft class. So the other guys that were drafted over him, in my opinion, based off of what I've seen and what the numbers say, Shedeur was better than all of them.
Nick, I just want to say, Mel Kiper said Jamarcus Russell, compare him to John Elway and say he would be an elite quarterback within 3 years. He also said Kajana Carter and compare him to Bo Jackson.
I like Kajana Carter.
Kajana was
hey, look,
my thing, FIFO, is you asked me this question, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like y'all don't listen to me a lot. I'm giving context where I feel like he failed. Do I agree that he failed do I agree that his fall to the 5th round was valid? No, I'm not saying that. I'm the one who betted with Lou that he would be a top 5 pick, a top 3 pick. None of y'all niggas did that. Even when we went through the draft and we were like, all right, these teams can take him, none of y'all said that y'all wanted him on y'all team. Even Lou said, we got Dak Prescott. Why would we draft Shedeur? Wow. My thing is, and we were all shocked. We all expected. Ken even wrote it in the thing as far as when we were doing the draft, as far as Shedeur's going to the Steelers. Because even Mike Tomlin came out and said Shedeur's a great talent. We would probably be good to have him and all that. So that's the reason why I'm saying all this is that we were, like Ken said, we were sold a bill of goods because all that shit that they said, Shelton, was a fucking lie. And what was the real was the fact that they did not grade him that highly.
But it's 2 things about that, Nick. Now I'm gonna say this to you and Ken, because you both said y'all thought he was gonna go high. So it sound like hedging to me. If y'all felt like he was not talented enough, but y'all felt like he was gonna go high, that's the hedge thing y'all like to talk about. Second thing is, Ken, you brought up Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen was a great example. He went where he was slotted to go, which was 10th. Also, he got about 8 or 9 different chances in the league, even after proving he was exactly what they said he was. So when you bring him up, you can't bring him up without saying Shedeur don't get the same grace, because he didn't have the same college career Shedeur had either. He didn't have that
hasn't
career.
played in the league yet, Shelton. I don't
right.
know.
So what I'm saying is he got dropped. It's a great comparison because he got dropped down to 5th round, which you said his talent wasn't there, but it was.
I was talking about the criticism of it being privileged and people question about his love for the game. People have said the same criticism for Shedeur. But they didn't drop. But he didn't drop. So when you brought him up, that was a great example. That shows you that there's a difference there, right? No, I'm trying to illustrate that it's okay for black quarterbacks to be criticized for certain things the way that other quarterbacks have been criticized in the past. It is not necessarily always about race.
Yeah, he got penalized for it. Why did Josh get penalized?
Right. They're being more harshly criticized because Rosen still
and he got penalized
the first couple rounds.
He got picked 10th. And that's where he was.
And then what happened next year, Sheldon? What did the Cardinals do next year?
He got benched. But Nick, he was on the Falcons 2 years ago. How many shots did he got?
It matters because his own team didn't even believe in him. A year later, they drafted Kyler Murray.
But they saw Josh Rosen was not out of the league. He was with the Falcons a couple years ago.
And Arizona needed a quarterback, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, they had him.
They drafted a quarterback because they needed a quarterback.
They drafted another quarterback, but my point is he still got
the year after Josh Rosen was there, but they drafted a quarterback.
He still got another shot.
The Raiders went in another direction. The Saints drafted I don't know who they picked. The only team that didn't pick him were the Steelers that needed a quarterback.
And Shelton, my whole thing was all this past football season. I said I don't think Shedeur is that good, but I can see him going high because there's desperate teams. We went over the teams that are desperate for quarterbacks, I said it was Cleveland. I said if he go past the Saints, that's egregious because the Saints, Derek Carr can't even throw a fucking football. They need a quarterback, and it was all based off of need.
You thought Milroe was better than Shedeur.
Tyler Shaw.
For me personally, I said Milroe's better. Look at the chat. I said Milroe's personally better than Shedeur, but I wouldn't draft him in the first round. I'll get him in the second.
No,
I've always said Shedeur was the first.
I would never take Milroe over Shedeur.
Yeah,
You wouldn't take Dak. You wouldn't take Shedeur over Dak Prescott. So that says a lot about you anyway. So that's what I'm saying.
I would take Shedeur.
I would take Milroe over Shedeur because he's an elite athlete with all of the intangibles that you want.
No.
So again, the draft is about potential as much as it is current talent, and the potential of Jalen Milroe is bigger than Shedeur.
Yeah.
No,
I get you, but I'll say this. I've heard, even on this program and in the media, I've heard about 25 different reasons that they put out as to why he didn't get drafted. So when you talk about believing somebody, we don't know which one to believe because they didn't talk not both sides of their neck so often. Oh, well, it's his play. Oh, his attitude. Oh, he didn't work out. Oh, he didn't play in the Senior Bowl. Oh, he didn't do this. Oh, he didn't do that. I'm like, come on, man. Which one is true? Did he not do none of it?
All of it, Shelton.
Oh, all of it's true, King?
Why can't it be all of it?
You believe it? All of that.
I do believe the reports. I do believe their report. I do believe these reports. FIFO, what did you just say? Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
But all these guys are lying.
No. But Ken, you can only believe half of what you read. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't believe it all. I don't believe it all. But again, to me, I'm taking the.
You don't believe any of it. Wait. Hold on. So
I said I didn't believe it all. I said I don't believe it all. But I do believe that there is a certain level of arrogance that the Sanders family has that I'm okay with because where I grew up, you know what I'm saying? The people that I associate myself with, I'm cool with that. But I can see how it could rub up some people the wrong way, especially in corporate environments. There's something that Acho said that I don't always agree with what Acho says, but he's very articulate, and I do agree with this. He didn't code switch, bro. The Sanders don't code switch. And that's why I said all five of us here have been on job interviews, and we have to code switch to a degree. My voice gets a lot lighter. I don't say the N word. There's a lot of things that we don't do when there's something that we're trying to get. And I don't believe we did that.
FIFO, your dad's not a Hall of Fame NFL player where you got money to lean back on where it don't matter how the interview plays out. So
and his dad just signed a $50 million contract to be a head coach as well.
A lot of people are not taking into consideration like why Shedeur is looking at it like I don't have to do this. I don't have to do I ain't gotta go in here and do this shit that Brian Daboll asked me to do that he asked every other quarterback to do because I'm different. And they not looking at him that way.
I'm gonna answer this question. I'm not gonna say I don't believe none of it. I'm gonna say this. I don't know what to believe.
Oh,
I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe.
So Sheldon, can we let's eliminate the media, let's eliminate the draft experts and whatnot. Let's just go off the facts that I said early and often. He wasn't highly scouted coming out of high school. We saw how he played against real competition in his own conference and in college football in general. And we know he's not athletic. And we know he wasn't the number one quarterback coming out of his draft class. And he wasn't, even if you think he's the number two quarterback, he doesn't have the most upside out of the rest of those, out of two other quarterbacks that FIFO mentioned in this draft class. And fourth, we know for a fact he didn't attend these the workouts and the Senior Bowl and all that stuff that most quarterbacks who are trying to get drafted high attend. So when you take all of that into account, and we also know for a fact that he doesn't code switch. When you take that all to account, is it not possible for you to believe that he would fall in the draft? Now, to say he falls to the fifth round is crazy. I get that. Right. But I'm just saying falling in the draft it makes sense when you look at all those things.
There's one thing that I do want to correct you on. The top quarterbacks, if you go, previous drafts, they don't attend the Senior Bowl. They don't go to the combine. They don't throw. The top ones don't. It's the ones that are going to be drafted second, third, fourth round that are looking to make sure that they solidify themselves in the draft to be taken are the ones that participate in that. Caleb Williams ain't do none of that. He got taken number one. I could go through the list and through the list. The top prospects, Joe Burrow did it. The top prospects, they don't go through that, bro.
Okay, so FIFO, that's all I'm correcting. You're picking at one thing when I'm talking about a combination of those five. 100. So I'm talking about the bundle package. I'm not talking about the singularity thing.
Hey, I'm saying it came out of your mouth, and I'm just saying it's incorrect.
No, what's not incorrect is that it all happened to one player at one time. That's what the evaluation comes from. Looking at everything all at once. You're not taking one thing out and just saying that's the one thing. I'm saying the facts of what the evaluators have for Shedeur were all there. So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, is it inconceivable to believe that he will fall when you're dealing with a player that has all that all at once?
What I'm saying, and the reason why I brought that out is to give you a little bit of credence in what you're saying, though, Nick. Shedeur, again, him and his dad over-leveraged what they thought they had. They thought that they were a top 5 pick, right? Deion's been saying it. He's been selling that bill of goods. But the reality is you're not top 5. That's just what the reality was. And then they didn't execute the game plan because the game plan was flawed. The game plan was for a top 2 guy, which he clearly was not. And I never said that he was. You know what I'm saying?
None of y'all said that.
Okay.
Or at least some logic.
But the game plan to get drafted was flawed because they used the Deion Sanders template and not the Shedeur Sanders template. And the Shedeur Sanders template should have said, hey, we need to go to the Senior Bowl. Hey, you should throw at the don't run the 40. Let's not overexpose ourselves. But let's show why. Did you see that throw that Tyler Shaw had in the combine? Put that boy to bed. Delegate all of them everybody not named Cam Ward, put them boys to bed, and then let's go have our showcase in Colorado, and let's go get as high as we can go get. Which I think would have gotten him to 21. I think that if he would have taken those interviews seriously, and I'm not saying code switch, nigga, go in there with all of the jewelry on. Go in there being Shedeur Sanders, but take it as seriously as possible. If Dayball says, hey, this is the base, and then we have an installation of 15 plays, he needs to be on point with all that. That's the reality of the situation. And they misplayed their hand. And I think it's not the film, it's not the race, it's not none of that. It's how he came off thinking that he was the guy. And and I'm just saying, based off of what I've seen on social media, that is the arrogance, which again, I am cool with. And I'm not saying you have to code switch because somebody mask on or off in the chat was saying, well, Lamar doesn't code switch, but Lamar's professional. You can be a professional black person.
Really good.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah, he's great.
He's really good at his job. Yeah, so
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
multiple time
play
MVP,
wide receiver too. Didn't
humble. He said, "No, I'm not switching positions."
Yeah,
and he let everybody know that. Again, all I'm saying is, and Ken, that's why I say I believe half of what I read. I don't necessarily believe it all. I read what I read. I see what I see. I put it together, and I come with my own conclusion. My conclusion is that he could come off arrogant, but I just want he needed to be crossing all of his crossing his T's and dotting his I's. And it feels like he did it, which to me is what caused the slide. It wasn't the play on the field. And again, it wasn't the racism. It was something that was controllable, but they ran the wrong play.
Yeah, you put that very well, FIFO. I got a question for the panel. I guess we can move on after that, Ken. Do y'all think he will be starting week 1?
No, absolutely not. There's really it's going to be really tough for him because you're the 5th quarterback on that team.
Yes.
Regardless, you don't get that many reps, and he's going to need reps. So he'll be 4th because you got
it's only 4 quarterbacks.
It's 5.
Well, yeah, Deshaun.
So Sheldon, let me ask you this: so if he's not starting week 1, do you think he will end up being the starter by the end of the season?
I don't even know if he's going to be on the team, Nick. And I'm saying that I'm not talking about his talent, Lou. This ain't got nothing to do with that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that he got to get reps, and if they don't want him to get the reps, how crazy does it sound?
Lou, do you agree with that?
You act like he's gonna get a fair shake, kid. Did you see the GM? Did you see what the GM said?
Do you agree?
Did you see it?
That he will be the starter by the end of the season.
So, and FIFO, you already know. Once again, we just talked about that. When management looks at you like, I don't really want this nigga no way, they're not gonna give you a chance. So that's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about talent. He can ball out, but that don't mean he gonna get a shot.
So week 1, I don't know. I think at some point in the season he will. And my reasoning is this: we know Joe Flacco is the preeminent bridge quarterback in the league. He knows that system. We've seen him ball out in that system. But I think that they still lack the outside weaponry that it takes to compete, not only in the NFL, but in that division. Like I just don't see them putting up enough points. They're going to have some tough losses. And if you're not going to be playing for the playoffs and you have 2 number 1 picks in next year's draft, which yours should be relatively high, and Jacksonville, everybody knows Jacksonville.
We don't know.
Fuck that. They're not making a playoff. I don't believe they're going to make the playoffs. So we're talking potentially. Man, I don't think they are. But that's a whole other conversation. Hold on. I haven't answered the question yet. So you're talking about 2 high first round picks. You need to know if Shedeur is a guy that you can win with. So I believe that at some point in time, he's going to be the starter, because you got to know. Because if he is your starter, and you have 2 high first round picks, then we say, hey, you know what? We could turn this thing around really quick. We could get him some weapons. We can get O-line, whatever it is that they need. But I do think at some point he will be the starter for the Browns.
Fivo, you still talking football when you're dealing with corporations, sir. These are corporations. This ain't about football.
Sheldon, why did they draft him? Why did they draft him? Why did they draft him?
Who wanted Shedeur? Who wanted Shedeur?
Somebody
who wanted Shedeur?
The GM didn't.
No, we know.
Did you see the GM's face when he got drafted?
Exactly. It wasn't the GM and it wasn't the coach. So who does that? Who exactly? And if the owner's going to get what the owner wants,
but
and
you
if he say,
but you let him play. If you let him play right away, you know how much of a fool you're going to look like.
He didn't say right away.
He didn't say
right away. That's what
away.
they're going to try to do. They're going to try to avoid that because you look real bad.
Exactly. 100%.
The only team that get away with that is the 49ers.
I don't think that he's gonna play right away. You have Joe Flacco, again, knows the system, been there, done that. The preeminent bridge quarterback. He's gonna play 4 to 6 games. If them boys go 500 or less, it's Shedeur time. That's just what it's gonna be.
Dylan Gabriel.
You gotta know. You gotta
Dylan Gabriel the first.
My thing.
I'm shooting before he don't deserve it.
Dylan Gabriel.
I pray he do need FIFO, and I want him to, and I think he should and will. But I just don't think they're gonna let that happen. I think that'll make them look like fools, and they ain't gonna do that.
My thing is, why draft him if you think they're trying to blackball him like that? Why even draft him? Why didn't he just go undrafted if they were trying to send a message to Sheldon?
Because that would put him back in control of his own fate, and he could pick where he wanted to go. Because he could pick where he wanted to go, and because he holds all the cards.
How can he get picked where he want to go?
What do you mean? You know how many people watched the NFL draft? It was a record number of people watching the second and third rounds of the NFL draft because that man holds the cards. You put him where you want him to go. You control. He's still in control.
If he's undrafted, how is he picking where he wants to go?
Because he has the freedom and the right to negotiate with anybody. And you think some owner ain't sitting back saying, "Let me go on and get."
He don't even have an agent. He doesn't even have an agent.
What don't need an agent. What do you need an agent for? For what? For what? What is it? What would an agent have made a difference in?
They would have told your ass you damn near about to be a 5th round pick. So they wouldn't have been able to say that because they didn't know. Just like his dad. Agents can go into because like when we found out
his dad was
Dion has no pulse on what goes on behind the NFL doors.
Clearly,
if he did, we would have got the information that Lou was talking about as far as like what's the real on Shedeur Sanders. Agents communicate with owners, GMs all the fucking time, bro. That's how they get their information.
If he had an agent, it wouldn't have been a 5th round. If he had an agent, it would not have been a 5th round draft pick.
It would have been the same thing, Luke. Once again,
they made that decision. The game plan would have been different,
bro. You really stuck on this race thing, bro. This is crazy.
It ain't race, Ken. I ain't even talking race. I'm talking control.
What are you talking about then?
I'm talking the league controlling Dion. I ain't even talking race.
Then why the fuck you bring up Colin Kaepernick?
Because I just told you it's about control. But I didn't say race. Okay. I said control.
So Shelton, I'm agreeing with you on control. And if he would have had an agent, they would have controlled the situation better and had a better roadmap to not get drafted in the 5th round.
I'm done with y'all.
His dad would have still been controlled. His dad would have still been controlled.
I'm done with y'all. In the chat, they talked about race. In the chat, I saw race this, race that. Now it's not about race.
I saw in the chat they said we got black men going against black men.
Bro, it's race.
we gotta talk about sports, Sheldon. How many black people in sports?
Afraid of a confident black man talking.
Lou a few weeks ago told me that Tyreek Hill can't be on commercials because he can't get pulled over by the cops.
I stand by it. And I stand by it.
Jesus Christ. All right, no commercial, man. Well, let's just jump to oh my God. I knew that was gonna go pretty long-winded. So we're just gonna jump to the basketball because my goodness. Wait, let me make sure I got the outline correct. Now we're gonna jump to on watch. We're gonna jump to on watch, and I'm up. See you, Rob. I'm up next, and we're about to talk about the team that I got on watch. The whole thing that I got on watch is the Cleveland Browns. I actually got on watch because I don't know what the hell they're thinking. That's why I didn't comment on what you guys were saying, because this is a situation that I am extremely curious about. Because, Nick, they needed a quarterback so badly, they drafted two. That's how bad they drafted two. And I truly don't know if they believe in Sanders like that. What I suspect happened, though, is that they didn't want to take the chance on being wrong. And I think this was a move they made to cover their ass just in case he is those intangibles and everything else that they talk about, and that he's able to play within the confines of a system, and he got protection and this, that, and other, where he can utilize his skill sets, the things that he's really good at. I think that they didn't want to take the chance of somebody else getting him and then them not getting him and then them looking like fools. So they'll rather look like fools on this side of the thing than not. So, and then on top of that, Shedeur, looking at him is, to piggyback a little bit about what you were saying, Shelton, is we were all clamoring for him to get picked by the Browns, but the Browns is one of the worst fucking franchises in history. So why the hell would we want a guy that everybody, the black community as a collective, are really wanting to see win, go to an organization that's freaking terrible, that won't give him a chance to succeed or win? And what would that do? That would have all of the haters finally coming out and saying this guy can't play this, that, and the other. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's why he was kind of trying to do the plan, Shelton, but he didn't realize that he wasn't a fucking Manning and that his son didn't have the skill set to dictate where you want to go. Yep. So nevertheless, I think the Browns are a mess. They have 5 quarterbacks.
Which
5.
You have none.
5. And do I think the guy from Oregon is better than Sanders? I think they might be the same guy. They may be the same guy in terms of evaluation. I don't know. But you know what? You know where we're gonna find out, Nick? We're gonna find out in training camp, and we're gonna find out when they get on the field. So all of our talk and everything that we be saying, all of that shit about to go out the fucking window. Because they're going to have to go on the fucking field and they're going to have to prove this shit. Sanders going to have to get on there and prove it and show all of us that we either right or fucking wrong.
I saw James Jones say that training camp was set up. His first year in training camp, he went out there and balled out. And the next year they brought in Jordy Nelson and they put him in the X slot where he was and had the plays ran and designed to where he balled out in camp. So they kind of control camp is what he said about his situation. And I'm sure that that's done a lot of different places. So, but I digress.
But if he get cut, to your point, Shelton, he can go somewhere else, right?
Yeah. But the point of it is he got picked by Cleveland. To me, that's another shot at Dion too, because
he didn't want to go to Cleveland.
He said, I don't want to go to Cleveland.
So, Ken, the only thing I want to watch is the Cleveland Browns Hard Knocks. Go ahead.
Oh, man, I want that FIFO.
They were already on Hard Knocks this past fall. I don't know if they'll make them this year.
And I saw the video, Shelton. That GM was like,
"You seen it?
But he's saying the right things in the press. But it's just like, I'm telling you, man. They were like, all right, man, he here. Fuck it, we're gonna take him. That way, if he is good, and at least people can't clown us for it.
He looked like he looked like, man, and it was no hiding his emotion.
Yeah,
they asked him about it too,
show, bro.
Yeah, they asked him about it, and he was trying to answer, but the other guy cut him off and stopped him. And he was like, "No, it's the timing of it. It's not the same time." And he tried to respond like that, but we was watching it.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah,
5th round. That's tough, man.
I think I'll be shocked if he's not starting by the end of the season.
I'm with y'all. I think if he's that guy, he's going to be playing.
He has to.
If he's the guy.
It's just too tough, man. It's
not making excuses for him. If he's the guy,
I'm just saying. You know, and they say it. Even the third string quarterback get 4 throws.
I agree. I do agree with Nick and Ken on that. It's not too tough. If he's that guy by the end of the season, he should be in the game. Like that's just flat.
Because if it's, they'll see it. They'll see it.
You can't deny time. You can't deny time.
You can't deny.
Russell Wilson did it. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they just signed in Seattle. They had just signed their quarterback. You know, I'm bad with names.
Matt Flynn.
Flynn from the Patriots. You know what I'm saying?
No, he was with the Packers. He balled out with the Packers.
Oh yeah, with the Packers.
Contract
he balled out with the Packers. Got a big contract. I think it was 3 or 4 year deal. And they drafted Russell Wilson. They beat him out in camp, and he was a day one starter. So I don't think Shedeur is going to be the day one starter, but I do think that he has to take this whole being drafted in the 5th round and being like, let me cross my T's and dot my I's. Let me make sure I know the playbook inside and out as a quarterback should. And let me go out there and show what I can do. I think he is more talented than Dylan. I think Kenny Pickett shouldn't even be in the league no more. And Joe Flacco's a bridge.
Last thing, Nick, and then we got to go through these 3 other topics pretty quickly. What you got, Nick? What are you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, and we all know, based off what FIFO said in the draft, bro, it don't matter where you drafted as long as you drafted.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was a 6th round pick.
Hey, Nick, that's what everybody go to that's their card, bro.
Yeah.
Was it about race there too, Sheldon?
No. Because he couldn't run.
I think the other one is the Seattle DB, the loudmouth, Richard Sherman.
Yeah,
5th round.
He was like a 5th round.
Let's go. You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.